Hi everyone, I'm Bianca and welcome to my first video where I will be reviewing the live action Little Mermaid. I just want to make you aware that there will be spoilers in this review, so keep that in mind if you want to continue listening. But I really wanted to review this film, so let's get started. For the past 3 years, I have been so excited to see the live action Little Mermaid. It's been one of my favorite films growing up, and knowing that Halle Bailey, who has a lovely singing voice, got the role of Ariel, made this live action all the more special. Unfortunately, this film has not been without backlash. There has been some really nasty racism towards Halle's casting, complaints about the film being too dark, and the appearances of the live action animals/fish. I've defended this film countless of times online before the film even released. But now I've been able to experience the film for myself. I'm all for forming my own opinions and not necessarily going along with whatever the majority says. So let's get into this review. The Little Mermaid 2023 film review. Does The Little Mermaid deserve the hate it's been getting, or should people be more open-minded towards this film? Let's start off with the visuals of the film. In my honest opinion, I think the film is visually stunning for the most part. The visuals are vibrant and beautiful, so if a scene appears to be quote-unquote dark, then that's because it's supposed to be. For example, the scene in the cave where Ariel sings Part of Your World. She is longing to experience surface life, so the darkness fits with her mood. Also, she's in a cave underwater, so I wouldn't think it's very appropriate to have a scene like that very bright. And this is just one part of the darkness discourse that I've seen online regarding this film. Also, the scene where Eric's ship sinks captivated me so much. I thought it was an incredible scene despite the chaos that was happening. It's nighttime, so of course it's dark, but I loved how they implemented fireworks, moonlight, and also the fire to light the scene. I personally love the low light here. When we get our first look at Ursula in her lair, it's pretty dark in there, but as we all know, she's the villain, and again, she's underwater in her lair. But I really loved how her tentacles would glow underwater, and also the items that she used for her potions. There are many ways to be intentional with lighting in film, and I just think Disney did a great job overall with the low lighting. One dark scene that I wasn't a fan of was towards the end when Ursula grows large in the ocean. I could not see her face well, so even though I know she is angry in that moment, I would have loved to just visibly seen more of her expression clearly. And to be fair, it may just take some getting used to, and I may not feel this way in the future. But as for Ariel and Eric in the same scene, I thought they looked fine. There are many memorable moments in this film, but a lot of the moments that were new to the story stood out to me most. Of course, a memorable scene in the live-action Little Mermaid is seeing the Jodie Benson cameo. For those who don't know, she is the original voice actress from The Little Mermaid, 1989. It was just really great to see someone who was so monumental for the original pretty much co-signing the new live action. Also, there's this scene with Ariel and Eric in this room full of Eric's collection, and Ariel is trying to teach him how to blow into this shell. So they're both puckering their lips, and then there's this dialogue from Sebastian. It's such a funny moment. While I'm still on the topic of Ariel and Eric, the scene where Ariel is trying to tell Eric her name is so adorable. I can't really explain it. It just needs to be seen in order to know how much of a cute moment it is. I also love the new twist of Ursula adding a spell to make Ariel forget she needs to kiss Eric before sunset on the third day. And I can't forget the recreations of original scenes from the classic animation. There's just so much to enjoy and remember. Music is such an important element to The Little Mermaid, so I can't do a review on this film without mentioning the music. Besides Part of Your World, I actually waited until after I saw the film to listen to the soundtrack because I really just wanted pretty much a first reaction with everything. Halle does a beautiful job on her songs, including the new additions. I'm not surprised at all that she did well with the music. I thought Poor Unfortunate Souls was pretty good, but not quite as incredible as the original, and the same goes for Under the Sea and Kiss the Girl. I'm not sure if the original versions had more energy or if I'm judging it from nostalgia, but nevertheless, all original songs work with the film and its visuals. As for the new songs, I didn't hate Scuttlebutt at all, though I know there's going to be some complaints about it. Wild Uncharted Waters was also good and allows for more Prince Eric that I didn't know I needed. The casting for this film is very well done. From the first announcement, I knew Halle had what it took to be a really great Ariel. One of the main elements of The Little Mermaid is her gift with singing. As someone who was familiar with Halle's music with her sister Chloe and just knowing how much of an incredible singer she is, I understood immediately why she got the role. But acting wise, I think I've only seen her in Grownish prior to the release of The Little Mermaid, so her character is pretty blunt on that show. But during the rollout for the film, and seeing clips of her in her role as Ariel, she portrayed a Disney princess flawlessly. She has such a Disney princess voice and laugh, if that makes sense. The way she delivers her lines seems very authentic, and her laugh is infectious. I think those are great qualities for a Disney princess, and just another way to have kids love you. I also really think that everyone should take into account her performance when she has no dialogue. So she had to be really convincing with her body language and facial expressions. And we know Ariel goes through a lot while not having her voice, from falling even more in love with Eric to experiencing heartbreak when Eric suddenly devotes his life to Vanessa. I thought she did a wonderful job expressing herself in her silence. Personally, she did not disappoint me in her role. One person that I was not familiar with was Jonah Hauer-King, who plays Prince Eric. When I first saw his casting, my first thought was, wow, he looks like he could be a really good Prince Eric. But after seeing him embody the character for the film, I don't think they could have had anyone better. Jonah literally is Eric. He does a great job building upon Prince Eric's storyline, and Eric has always been a top Disney prince for me, but I feel like I love the character even more. Also, Jonah has incredible chemistry with Halle. Just seeing the two on screen and their characters' romance blooming makes me melt. Ariel and Eric just have these connections. I think that helps spark the romance even more. Someone who I did not expect to enjoy as much as I did was Melissa McCarthy as Ursula. I was pretty confused when I saw she got the role of a villain like Ursula, and that's only because I've seen her in a lot of comedies, but she embodies Ursula so well. Her emotions of like annoyance, anger, and even when she cackles, I thought she nailed it. I also have to mention, even though she was playing the villain, she still manages to make you laugh. Everyone else in the cast does really well. I loved Ariel's sisters and King Triton. They are all literally so stunning. Eric's mom was also a good addition to the story as well. I liked Flounder. I thought Awkwafina as Scuttle was a choice, but I think it worked. And I can't forget about Sebastian. I have a soft spot for the original voice actor of Sebastian. I think he was so iconic in that role, so it's hard for me to not compare David Diggs to Samuel Ernest Wright, but I have to give David his credit. He really does well as Sebastian, but of course, his new moments in the film are what makes him stand out to me. I actually don't have many dislikes for the film. I'm sure I would have had more if I decided to compare it to the original classic, but that's not what I wanted to do. When seeing the film, I wanted to go in and just enjoy something new. Even though I'm very familiar with the 1989 animation, this was still a very new film. So during my first watch, I was wondering about the lack of outfits for Ariel. In the original, they gave her choices. But in the live action, she appears to wear the same dress until the end of the film. But in the end, when you watch the film, you see just how important that dress is and how much it means to both Ariel and Eric. To conclude this review, I can just tell I will probably rewatch this live action film more than I've watched the other live action films. I'm not one to complain about Disney live action films, but this one has surpassed them all for me. Even though I was totally invested in the film since the beginning, I could consciously feel myself smiling at the cutest and romantic parts. Watching this just brought my inner child out, and I'm so glad that I got to see it. The audience was quite diverse, and it was nice to see such a wide range of ages and races appreciate this film. And that concludes my first review. I'm so happy I was able to watch this film on the big screen. I went to an early screening, which I don't do often, but I was just so excited for this film, I didn't want to wait. This is literally my first video on this channel, so I'm not sure how many people this video will reach, if any, but as YouTubers say, thank you so much for watching this video. Please subscribe and stay tuned for more.